The shadow of authority. It was a humid Tuesday evening in August 2024 in the quiet suburb of Willow Creek, North Carolina, when our lives took a turn we never saw coming. My wife, Emily, had just said no to joining the Homeowners Association, something we thought was a simple choice. Little did we know, that decision would paint a target on our backs, pulling us into a battle far bigger than a monthly fee. I'm still shaken thinking about it, and I'd love to know what you'd have done in my shoes because, honestly, I froze when it all went down. It started with a pounding on our front door at around 7:30 p.m. I was in the garage, tinkering with my old motorcycle, grease smudged on my hands, when Emily's voice cut through the air sharp, urgent, the kind that signals trouble. By the time I wiped my hands and reached the living room, she was peering through the blinds, her face pale. 3 men stood on our porch, dressed in what looked like police uniforms, their badges glinting under the porch light. But something was off. The badges didn't look right, and their boots mismatched, like they'd been thrown together in a hurry. Emily whispered that they were here about her refusing the HOA. That made no sense. Since when was joining an HOA a legal requirement? I cracked the door open, keeping Emily behind me. The leader, a stocky guy in his late 40s with a bushy beard, stepped forward, his voice booming with fake authority. He claimed Emily had violated community safety codes by not signing up with the HOA, calling it a misdemeanor that required her immediate detention. His 2 sidekicks loomed behind him, one clutching a pair of shiny handcuffs, the other fiddling with a radio that crackled with static, not police chatter. I asked for a warrant, any paperwork, anything legitimate. The bearded guy hesitated, then pulled a crumpled citation from his pocket, demanding $900 in fines and a court date set for the next Sunday. Sunday? Courts don't operate on Sundays. That's when I noticed the typo on his badge, pubic safety instead of public safety. This wasn't law enforcement, it was a performance. Emily, calm but firm, demanded their legal authority. The bearded guy stammered, claiming community safety violations didn't need warrants. His sidekicks shifted nervously, and when I pulled out my phone to call the real police, their confidence crumbled. They exchanged glances, muttered about complicating the process, and practically sprinted to their SUV regular vehicle with stick-on police decals. Our neighbor, Mrs. Clara Thompson, watched from her window across the street, her face etched with worry. She'd lived here for decades and never heard of HOA cops. As they sped off, I kept recording, capturing their fake badges and jittery behavior. The next morning, our front yard looked like a legal notice dump. Papers were taped to our mailbox, wedged under our car wipers, and stuck to our door, official-looking documents accusing Emily of everything from unauthorized parking to non-compliant lawn maintenance. The fines totaled exactly $900, matching the fake citation from the night before. One letter chilled me to the bone. It referenced a private joke Emily had made about our overgrown shrubs, something only someone watching us could know. This wasn't just harassment, it was personal. Mrs. Thompson came over, shaken, holding similar papers slapped on her property, with fines over $1,200. When I spotted the same fake police SUV parked down the street, its bearded driver watching us, I zoomed in with my phone and caught the cheap stick-on decals. My security footage later confirmed it. At 3:17 a.m., a man I now recognized as the bearded guy had crept through our neighborhood, plastering houses with these fraudulent notices. I called the county clerk, who confirmed what I suspected. HOAs have no legal power to arrest or issue citations. These were fakes, plain and simple. Emily skipped her usual book club that week, too rattled to leave the house. She kept checking the locks, jumping at every passing car. Then things escalated. On Monday, Emily's boss, Mr. Harrison, called her into his office, sliding a manila envelope across his desk. Inside were police reports claiming Emily was under investigation for community safety violations that could cost her job. My blood boiled. But when I called the police department listed on the letterhead, they confirmed the reports were bogus. No such case numbers existed. Emily's co-worker, Sarah, a paralegal, spotted the fraud immediately and rallied her colleagues to support us. That evening, the HOA president, Laura Bennett, called an emergency meeting at the Willow Creek Community Center, claiming urgent safety concerns. The room was packed, tension thick as Laura projected photos of our house, spinning a tale of Emily's dangerous refusal to join the HOA. She even showed images from the fake arrest attempt, passing them off as legitimate police action. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Some bought her story, others didn't. Then Tom Reynolds, a retired attorney who'd lived here for 20 years, stood up. His voice was steady as he dismantled Laura's claims, explaining that HOAs have no arrest powers and that her evidence was likely criminal fraud. He dropped a bombshell. Emily's late aunt, Margaret, had mentioned disputes with the HOA over land lease issues before her death. Could Emily's inherited documents hold the key? When the bearded guy, now identified as Carl, strode in wearing his fake uniform, claiming authority to address violations, the room turned hostile. I announced I was calling 911, and Carl bolted before real officers arrived. They confirmed his uniform violated state laws on police impersonation, and the meeting shifted as residents demanded answers. Laura's credibility unraveled as she failed to produce any legal backing for her claims. Back home, Emily and I tore through boxes of Margaret's old papers. 2 hours in, we found a folder labeled Property Agreements. Inside was a 99-year land lease contract between Margaret and Willow Creek developers, stamped and notarized. The bombshell? Emily, as Margaret's heir, owned the land under the entire neighborhood. The lease required the HOA to pay monthly fees, stopped 3 years ago, and barred intimidation or fake enforcement. The HOA had been violating the lease for years, and Emily held the power to shut them down. Margaret's notes detailed her attempts to confront the HOA, including letters to Laura, who dismissed her. Photos and reports showed a pattern of fraud and harassment predating our ordeal. We met with attorney Lisa Carter, who confirmed Emily's authority to terminate the HOA's lease over unpaid fees, $45,000 and counting, and criminal acts. She drafted a legal notice demanding compliance within 30 days. When it was served to Laura at her insurance office, she called another frantic HOA meeting, claiming outside agitators were attacking the community. But Emily stood tall, presenting the lease and exposing the violations. Tom backed her up, citing statutes that stripped the HOA of authority for criminal acts. Residents shared their own stories of fake citations, and the room turned on Laura. When police arrived with a warrant for her arrest tied to Carl's fraud scheme, backed by $15,000 in payments from Laura, the HOA collapsed. The remaining board resigned, and Tom formed a transition committee to rebuild. Carl's arrest revealed a multi-county scam, his garage a hub of fake badges and fraudulent documents targeting HOAs across the region. Laura faced 38 years for conspiracy, her career ruined. The prosecutor praised our evidence, security footage, photos, recordings as key to the case. By November 2024, Willow Creek was reborn. Emily renegotiated the lease, voided all fake fines, and refunded victims using Laura's seized assets. Tom, now HOA president, established a resident bill of rights, transparent meetings, and audited finances. Fear gave way to trust, and neighbors collaborated on community projects. Emily's role as landowner became a quiet check on power, ensuring fair governance. At a sunny community barbecue in December, we dedicated a new governance charter. Kids played on upgraded swings, and a simple sign read, Willow Creek Community, Neighbors First. It wasn't loud, but it spoke volumes. We'd turned intimidation into empowerment, proving real strength lies in standing together. What would you have done when those fake cops showed up? Would you have called their bluff or played it safe? Should Emily have evicted the HOA outright, or was her mercy the right call? Drop a comment, hit that like button if this hit home, and subscribe for more stories of ordinary people fighting back. Let's hear your thoughts. What's the shadiest thing an HOA or authority figure has tried on you?